Not much, buddy.
Those earpods look like they struggling to hang in there, boy.
Oh, why are you on me, bro?
No, I'm just stating. I'm not. I'm just stating that you seem to be experiencing a BJJ problem there.
I don't know. No, not Asians. Not Asians.
No, BJJ. Are they meant to go like that? Aren't they meant to
No,
go?
of course, no. No.
I'm sure yours like Spitfire or something cool.
Yeah, something like that.
And what's happening?
Nothing. I just got back. We shower, had some lunch, dinner. No.
God, hey, lunch ended long ago, Rich.
Yeah, well, it's my first meal today.
On that long intermittent fast, eh?
No, it's just didn't have time, buddy.
Well, you got to start packing those lunches. I told you. You got to start packing those lunches. You can't live like this. You can't live like this all the time. What did you have for supper? Was there tea? Was there tea involved? Tell us. I know there was tea.
It's coming now, buddy. Tea's coming now, buddy.
That looks like a urine sample. Is USADA there? What's going down?
Yeah, I have to always keep the samples around. Eh?
Just in case. That's amazing. Richie, lots to talk about, lots going on. What I wanted to ask you, you're obviously now the master compliant, and the gym is back open. What's that whole process been like, and what is it like having students on your mats again?
Yeah, I think just having the gym open is amazing. Obviously complying with the COVID rules and regulations, having your registration in place online and at the gym, all the hand sanitizing and sanitizing facilities, social distancing, having to come up with a different structure of classes for kids and adults. Yeah, I think like everything's changed, but it's just good that the doors can be open again.
What is it like to see students coming back in action, ready to learn?
Yeah, like you remember, like everyone's taking their own views of what's actually going on, So you have the people that want to come back but are scared of coming back. Social media has like made them super fearful of just stepping out their house. Then you have them a little bit more compliant and understanding students that come in and or participate in the classes. So you have the two different views, and even though we open, a lot of people are still fearful for coming back, and I think it's a problem everyone's probably feeling right now. Just like the restaurants industry, you guys are fully open, but people are just not going to restaurants because of the fear-mongering media. So we're feeling the same consequence.
Do you think it's a question that popped up when this all came about and gyms were initially closed and stuff, and some guys had like the sentiment that you would only really see gyms at full capacity, full steam rolling and contact once there's a vaccine? Do you think that's like a true loom, or is it kind of we're just going to be like whatever?
Like, are you asking me personally? Like,
no, not you personally. We're on this. We're on the same boat. But you think like the general mindset is going to change only once there's like some sort of barrier.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I just think there needs to be more good news.
Yeah.
Less of you're gonna die, and more that it's okay and everything's gonna be okay. So I mean, obviously the virus is real and it's out there, but just like everything else is real and out there. I just think people need to have more of an education on what's going on and themselves. To wait for vaccination, and think that's a whole nother story. Um, uh, I don't know how that's going to work out, but if people are going to wait for vaccination to come out to then operate normally, I think that's going to take some time. And if it is very quick, I wouldn't be the first people in line for that vaccination.
Russia's got a vaccine, dude. You're not lining up for the Putin vaccine. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's special vodka and you're fine. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy. So just like, it was quite funny you said that. I was looking at just breezed over some stats, like just checked in to see what was going on. And like so we've got 417,200 total recoveries with a 98, so there's a 98.4% recovery rate in South Africa at the moment.
Yeah. It's, but like, facts are facts, and right now, it's just people are not making decisions on facts. So it's hard to. I think now in the next few weeks, it's hard for the government, whoever it is, to justify the reasoning of their actions. So I think we are going to get a much more freedom coming up in the next few weeks. But yeah, it's a comedy show, man. I think in a few years back, we're going to look back at all of this and just be like, what actually happened? What were we doing? What was going on? I mean, you got to also take the best out of the bad, I mean, or you just go crazy. And there's a lot of good things that have come out of it, but there's a lot of bad things as well. But I mean, yeah, it's crazy times, bro.
Talking about good things that came out of COVID was Fight Island. What did you make of, dude? Like, I mean, it's the best thing ever. Let's take some people onto an island and let's fight. I mean, I couldn't think of anything better to do. What did you make of?
All I'm saying is our sport was the only sport that was available during this mass pandemic world shutdown. So that should just tell people something about our sports. But it's absolutely insane.
Isn't that like the whole irony of the situation? Like, the whole world is like social distance and wear masks and no contact, and UFC was like, cool, we hear you, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, we're just gonna make our own plans right now, and we're gonna have our own island, our own laws, our own everything, and guys are gonna bleed and sweat on each other.
100%. We just need to make the call to Abu Dhabi. We're like, can we get a cage there, and can we just sort it out? Abu Dhabi was like, say no more, we've got you. But it's
great.
What did you make of the fights, and was there any fights that stuck out for you during that? Because it was quite crazy. There were so many. They just like kept on coming one after the other.
But every fight for me is great. I take something out of every fight. It was a great time to just like sit down and see the sport grow in a historical time. And yeah, I mean, of course there was some great fights. Off the top of my head, I can't like pick one out, but that like few weeks of back-to-back fights was a great time.
Yeah, it was quite weird for me, because I mean, we were there in September, which seems like a lifetime ago, but it was like just now at the same time. And it was so like frustrating, because had we had the option to leave here, we probably all could have been there, which was
Don Madge he got the call, and we were supposed to be there, and I believe he was supposed to be there, I think, during the first card that was released there. And unfortunately, due to circumstances, we couldn't leave the country, and it is what it is.
Yeah, man, it's heartbreaking stuff that where our athletes are stuck here, missing opportunities. I mean, like, it's very easy for, like, if you had to say to somebody, look, I'm a professional athlete, look at what's going on over here. You know what I mean? They're testing, they're running all protocols. So for me to go and come back is not actually going to be such a big deal. They're going to kind of take care of all of that. So there's no risk for anyone, which was quite sad. But hopefully there'll be more opportunities on the horizon.
Yeah, hopefully they open up the borders soon enough for the guys to basically jump back on.
Yeah. What's it like as a coach now, having to keep your guys motivated that are missing these opportunities and sitting in limbo, just trying to get clarification?
In the beginning, it's like you try and take the responsibility of this, but it's really shown me who is serious about the sport. Understood personalities a bit better. I mean, if this is your life, you take it on the chin and you make the best out of the bad situation and you find the good in it and you keep going forward. And if this isn't, you make excuses, you fall into a hole and you don't do anything about it. So some people did and some people didn't. But that's just facts. But that's the situation, and it was a good situation for me to understand people a little bit better.
Okay. Just talking about Fight Island, we saw the emergence of Khamzat Chimaev from All Stars, the crazy new talk of the town. What do you make of him? I know you like to study and analyze fighters and pick up things that the small nuances in what they're doing. Did you spend much time watching his fight style, or is it something like we've actually kind of seen it before?
Yeah, due to like Chad Superman being in Brave, we've seen him live and stuff like that, and I think he is a great athlete, as you can see, but his style is very much the Eastern Bloc style. It's very easy to point out what they do and how they do their things, and they do it very well, and you can know that they're going to do it. Doesn't mean that you're going to stop it. So I wasn't surprised when I watched him. I kind of like knew exactly what was going to go down. And what I do like about him is that he doesn't pretend to be something that he's not. So his ability to get on top of you and smash you and get into a DOS or a rear naked choke is his way of winning. So he steps up and he doesn't even try and do anything else. He goes straight to what he's good at. And I believe that's very smart, and people get caught up in ego games, especially at high levels, and trying to prove things. And I mean, that's why he's like basically made it now, because he stepped up to the plate and he didn't change anything. He didn't even throw a punch. He went straight into the takedown, got his single, double to high dive, got the body lock, got on top, looked for the handcuffs to the back, got the ground and pound, and he did it in both fights.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see that style. Like, and you say, like, you know what he's going to do, but it doesn't always mean you can stop it.
Yeah.
How do you? Yeah, carry on.
I mean, the Eastern Bloc style, the Russian style, is very basic but very effective. And I mean, if you're in the sport and you haven't really found that system and understood that system, then you shouldn't be in the sport, because it is simple but highly, highly effective. And you're seeing other countries now adapt the style. They might leave a lot of little details out, but it's definitely, it was created through Khabib, and their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach actually created that with Khabib, which then was adopted by a lot of his Dagestani teammates and just basically got passed down the line, and it's now being created into their own system. But, their takedown system is very specific. And then when they hit the ground, it's very specific.
With those sort of things in mind, how do you, as a coach on the opposite end, how do you plan for that? I mean, you can drill it, you know what's going to come, but where's the key to kind of really nullify that sort of Dagestani style, the takedown? Where's the access point? Do you have to stuff the takedown, or is there still opportunity?
Well, it's systems upon systems. So, if you're going to fight a Dagestani that's been wrestling for, 20 years, it doesn't matter how many drills you do and how long you have it. been drilling a certain aspect, you only get so far. So it's more about adapting to what your strengths are, understanding what they're going to do, having systems upon systems, and going to your strengths, you know. And I I feel that when guys, I mean, we've fought Russians and we beat them in my camp, and I just feel guys are stepping there already super fearful of what's going to happen, fearful about the contact, the wrestling aspect straight away. And yeah, I mean, I have a view on how to beat it, and we have done it. And it's just understanding and not being obsessed with losing that first, how do you say, losing that first contact point.
The
So
first exchange.
a lot of people, yeah, a lot of people feel that as soon as they get taken down, oh shit, they've lost the fight. You know,
Yeah.
because they feel that that's just the end. They were supposed to defend and they didn't, so now it's the end. You know, instead of just understanding and processing what's going on, and you know, and that's what the training and the training camp's all about, is going through all of that. So the more systems you go through and more of the understanding of what's going to happen, what could happen, the more prepared you're going to be for when you step in there. And if you understand that style, it's actually not hard to, in my view, to defend. Yeah. Specifically if you can do it to them as well.
We'll get that message across to Justin Gaethje. It's going to be easy.
Yeah.
Cool,
And like,
Rich.
there's levels to this game as well. So.
Yeah, 100%. And I think if you're wrestling bears at 3 years old, that's level 9,000 already. So good luck catching up. UFC 252. This is one I wanted to talk to you about. It's a strange card, which I can actually share with you so you can see what's going on. Obviously, the big talking point at the moment, Sean O'Malley. What do you think about a guy like Sean O'Malley? It's quite a tough one because, I mean, the dude's obviously got some skills, but as we've just saw with Edmund Shabazian, sometimes these guys are like, you know, we need to see big wins before we can really start the hype. What do you make of a guy like Sean O'Malley?
I think he's had the easy road, man. I think he's blessed with being in the good books with the promotion, and he's been built, and you know, that's a great thing. Like, if everyone could have that, then they would have a great career. But I think now that he can't, and he has to like step up to certain fighters, we'll get more of an understanding of who he is and how he's going to step up to these guys. But for me, the guys that he's fought, I'm not too impressed, man. Like, it's easy to look good against an average fighter.
Yeah, it's a weird one because it's also been. I mean, sometimes saying easy road is not always the best way. It's like it's so weird in MMA because it's not often you see somebody getting like cushion. You know what I mean? Like, if you think you're the real deal, that it's going to get tested. And like with Sean O'Malley, I think because of the potential star power, they've kind of like prolonged that real test. But at the same time, they've given him decent enough names that stylistically make a lot of sense for him. You know what I mean? You think, man, like
this is a business, and
yeah.
You know, the UFC know how to run the business, and they know how to get the most out of an athlete, and that's what they're doing, and that's amazing. If you can be in that category, then it's great.
Yeah, I would like to see. I mean, obviously we're seeing like the grades now of Sean O'Malley, like Marlon Vera. Killer is going to be a massive test for him. I mean, Marlon Vera is a killer. But then I want to see, like, if and more than likely it's going to be a stand-up contest. But I want to see how he deals with like a Dagestani style. You know what I mean? Where he's going to be ragdolled.
100%.
How does he respond to that? Because I mean, obviously we've seen he's got good jiu-jitsu and he's got good striking.
Yeah.
How does that translate to those sort of style fighters? You know what I mean? That's going to be the key, I think.
Styles make fights, man. So yeah, that's the key.
The big trilogy. Or Rich, is a tough one for you. I know you always go with the wrestler. So, what are your thoughts on DC versus Stipe?
You know, I just think DC is not the. I don't. He's not the smartest fighter. I think he takes a lot of punishment because he can, and he's built like that. But I just think he takes too much punishment. If DC is smart and doesn't want to prove something on the feet and put Stipe on his back, I think it's going to be a short night for him. But if he plays, the stand-up game and wants to prove something on his feet, I think it might end up the same way as last time. So,
okay. So is that what you would say would be the keys to victories for DC to stay true to his wrestling and Stipe to just try to keep it standing?
High-level wrestler, I don't see anyone getting up when DC's on top of you. That's just a fact. If DC gets on top of you, you're not getting up. So if this is his last fight, why play around? Go in there, shoot a takedown, put him on his back, keep him there, look for a finish, ground and pound him, whatever it takes. But I mean, he easily finishes fights when he gets on top of guys. But for some reason, he wants to walk into punches and throw, and just throw down with the guys. So for me, I don't understand it.
Yeah, interesting point in the last fight. I think it was, was it the last fight? The second fight. There was he clearly won the 2 rounds, and there was, I actually saw it on Inside the Octagon. Dan Hardy pointed it out that there's a moment where he sits back down on his stool and his corner are quite frantic. They're like, you need to keep your hands up. You need to start. You can't just disrespect his power. Yeah. And he looked at his corner. He was like, am I losing the fight? I think he was so taken aback by the urgency in his corner, but they were saying to him, you can't do this, stick to your game. He was walking with his hands down, just walking straight into Stipe, and eventually he paid the price for it. So it's
only so much punishment you can take. And a guy like him, if you watch all of his fights, if he gets on top of you, it's a done deal. It's finished. But he likes to play this percentage game, and as a coach, as coaches, we try to avoid that. We want to go to what's going to give you the highest percentage of a win.
What do you make of? I don't know if I'm a sucker for the countdowns and embedded. I'm deeply in tune, and I notice now in the latest embedded series that DC's dad bod is quite heavy at the moment. Obviously that's why he chose to go up in weight. Realistically, I don't think the weight cut was really working for him. But
yeah,
there's something to a weight cut that kind of gets you in tune for a fight. It's like your body knows, okay, all systems go. How do you think that relates to the other side when you kind of just, in a way, you kind of I don't really have to worry too much about what I'm eating calorie-wise. I've got that buffer.
Weight cuts a tricky one, because there's guys that can cut a lot of weight and operate. There's guys that operate in a weight category above what they should be fighting. It really comes down, I believe, to the individual. And that's where being and having a proper and educated amateur career will make you understand of who you are and what you're supposed to be doing. Am I a guy that cuts a lot of weight? Am I not a guy that can only cut a little bit of weight? Am I a guy that needs to go up in weight? And that all needs to be answered earlier on in the career. And then obviously as you get older, you need to start listening to your body, and things might have to go up or down. And that's really personalized, I think.
Okay. Rich, if you'll entertain us with some quick fire picks, I'm sure people want to hear. So let's start with, can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see.
So the opener, the one we've been waiting to see, the rematch, I guess, Magomed Ankalaev versus Ian Cutelaba. That the last fight, Cutelaba was playing drunken monkey, and they stopped the fight.
I think Ian might take this one. I think he's going to take it more seriously. Don't get me wrong, that Russian can freaking throw a kick and a punch.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with the underdog on this one.
Cutelaba, nice. Then we've got the powerful throw of John Dodson versus Merab Diashvili.
Yeah, I think the Georgian. I like this Georgian. He's a gamer.
He reminds me of he's like a Georgian version of BK. Just
Yeah,
speed and non-stop relent. He just keeps coming.
and he's got heart, eh? Yeah, guy won't
Yeah.
give up.
And you can see by the shape of his nose that he's taken a few shots to the face.
Yeah.
This one I'm excited for. JDS versus
Yeah.
Jorginho. JDS seems to be rolling back the years, man. Have you seen the picture of the shape that he's in? Jeepers, look.
Yeah, he
I'm
looks like
I'm not saying he's been on some stuff, but I'm just saying maybe we should investigate.
Yeah, exactly. You know, with Dos Santos, he's the type of guy that's hot or cold. Like if he
Yeah.
shows up for your fight or for the fight, he's gonna give you a hard time, and he looks amazing. But if he doesn't show up, it's a short night for him. So, from what you can't judge a book by its cover, but seems like he's been putting in the work. So I'll go with Dos Santos.
JDS, the experience.
Yeah.
And then your
Unless his opponent starts, wrestling him, then it changes the game a little bit,
Yeah. I don't know if old Jorginho's keen on a wrestling match. Let's see.
Yeah, that's true.
His knockout rate is quite ridiculous. 90% wins come by KO, TKO. 10%
Yeah, so that's
to
why
decision.
the styles make fights, and they knew that was going to be a banger.
Yeah, 100%. I think someone's definitely going to sleep there.
Yeah.
Sean O'Malley, Marlon Vera. This for me is actually probably the hardest pick because I think everyone's gonna, like, people are generally just gonna lean to Sean O'Malley because you know who he is and there's all this hype. But Marlon Vera can definitely upset the apple cart there.
100%. And like I said, also styles makes fight. If Vera also takes this as an ego fight to look to prove to something instead of having a solid game plan and executing it and getting the win, and I think that will also give a proper understanding of what's going to happen. So yeah, I mean, this could be an ego fight, or it could be Vera coming in with a solid game plan and just upsetting everything.
So your picks?
I'm gonna go with the underdog with Vera.
Nice, I like it. And the main event, the one we just spoke about, Stipe versus DC. It's whoever decides to execute that game plan.
Yeah, I like DC. I actually like both of them, but like obviously I like DC. He's a good ambassador, and same as Stipe. I mean, they're both such good guys. If DC comes in with an ego fight and wants to stand, I think it's going to end up the same way. If you put some Stipe on the back, I think DC is going to win. But I have a feeling that DC is going to want to stand, and that's why I'll go with Stipe.
I like it. Can get your pundits, can get their bets in there based on Richie says bet the house, don't be scared. Rich, one of the things we were touching about earlier, I know you like to analyze fighters and fights and study and pass that knowledge on. I know you're always sending guys fights, study this, look at this.
Yeah.
Anyone in particular, or any fights in particular that you've been looking at lately?
So usually, like, I study mixed martial art fights, but I like to go into individual sports. So going to Greco-Roman wrestling, to the like jiu-jitsu, into the boxing. I do prefer doing that than studying a specific MMA fight and just watching MMA fights. I like to just be specific on the skill set, and then I'll mix and match. It depends where I am, where my headspace is. Also depends that if I'm like deep into a fight camp for high level fights. So it really depends on where I am. Right now, because there's no fights, usually I have like 2 or 3 charts that I use to break down an opponent for my guys. But right now those are kind of invalid because we're not really competing. So yeah, I mean, right now I'm all over the place. I'm watching a little bit of boxing. I went back to like watching a lot of Muay Thai. I'm watching, all of a sudden in the last 2 months, I've been watching a lot of Muay Thai. Been implementing a lot of that in the training. And now I'm kind of getting back into watching quite a bit of the high school wrestling on Flow Grappling. I really like watching the college wrestling, seeing the newcomers that are coming up, unknown names, just some beasts out there, new school guys. So, and then this week I went a little bit back to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So right now I don't have a real goal for the studying. It's more I have the time to be a little bit more free, as well as I'm not studying for programs in terms of class structure, because usually I'll be, say, if I'm teaching passing for the next 3 months, and I've got that program down, I'll be planning for the 3 months after that. So maybe, guards or a specific guard or whatever. But right now, we're just reviewing everything, and I'll get back into that in a few weeks. So I've actually had an easy time of being free and just watching every morning, waking up, and evening, just kind of watching what I feel like. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I suppose it's also nice at times to just not have to meticulously analyze everything and just watch whatever you want.
Yeah.
Nice one. The next question is a question I've meant to ask you 100 times. We've done this so many times, but I've never got around to it. Joe Rogan used to do it quite a lot, and he used to have a speaker and then publish like a book club, like 5 books to read. So that was the question I always wanted to ask you: was Richie Quan's book club? What are the 5? Or wait, let's go with 4 books. 4 books you would recommend right off the bat that you could think of.
Okay, so I'm definitely gonna have to recommend, because I mean he was in Africa and with us. I'm definitely gonna have to recommend Jocko Extreme Ownership. Yeah, that's just that's definitely a must. There's another book that I feel very powerful about, and that's a book called The Way of Men by Jack Donovan.
Oh yeah, The Way of Men.
Yeah,
that's got possibly the coolest book cover on history as
well. Yeah, he's got a 3-part series, but that's the first one. The next one, in terms of understanding athletes or something that sparked something in my brain about coaching and where I was and understanding teams and stuff, is a book called Legacy by James Kerr.
One more, Rich, for the Richie.
More
for the first ever Richie Quan Book Club.
How many was that now?
That's 3.
3. I don't have 5.
No, I just need 4. You gave me Extreme Ownership, 4. The way of Men, and Legacy. I need 1 more.
Buddy, that's not cool, eh? Yeah. Okay, so it's totally off topic, but there's a really good book. It's called On Killing.
On the Killing?
It's called On Killing. And he's got another one called On Combat, and it's by Dave Grossman, Lieutenant Dave Grossman.
Nice. There you have it. People and
then I have to give one more, The Daily Stoic.
Yes.
That's
The Daily Stoic. Yeah. What would we do without it?
Yeah. Ryan Holiday.
Nice one. That's something I've always meant to ask you and I never have, so I'm glad I remembered this time. What's the flavor tea this week? See that? Look at this, Rich. Tea. Check it out.
See? Now all of a sudden, instant purple bot, bro.
I felt something change on the first sip. Is that what it is? Is that the jiu-jitsu knowledge?
Definitely. It's coming.
Nice.
It's just accepted. It's coming.
That's amazing. There was somebody hit me up when they saw that you were going to be on here. They had some pertinent questions for you. I think you'll enjoy them.
Oh, people want to ask questions.
They always want to know. They always want to know. So let's start with the jiu-jitsu one. It was a question about a Kimura trap. Technically, it says, "What is your view on the Kimura trap? When is the ideal moment to?" Okay, he tried to clear this up. He said to bail on it. So he was saying, is there a time to kind of bail on the Kimura trap once you set your grips? Like, is there when I guess you would say, when would you say you're losing it? Or
okay, so so I think there's always a time of understanding when the next transition is to the next position or the next system that you need to apply. So obviously, I'm trying to understand like what position he's talking about. But in terms of what you just said, you always do need to understand where you are and where the next trend. It's never bailing. You should always be, if something fails, you go into the next transition process. But in terms of the Kimura trap, if you trying to get to the back and where everyone records it, kind of sort of, and you got it depends on what he's doing. Has he got the leg and the heel over? Is the guy running, putting pressure into him? A lot of the Kimura trap I teach and the whole system is, a lot of people do it when they're on the bottom, but it's super effective when you're on top. When you're on the bottom, it's not even about the Kimura trap. It's more about understanding the Kimura system. The Kimura trap, I specifically feel that it's a back take more than anything else. And the Kimura system should be a focus on understanding, where the arm is, where your hips are, and when to transition into maybe an armbar system, or guillotine system, or the triangle system, or all of that. So I kind of need a little bit more information on where he's failing from the Kimura trap.
Okay, fantastic. The next one is very important, especially for guys like me. Said, for building endurance outside of doing rounds, do you prefer longer, steady cardio work or interval cardio with recovery? And he wants to know, is there a certain amount of road work that's mandatory for your athletes?
Yeah, so for me, fitness is very customized as well. Like everything should be customized. Is the guy's anaerobic or aerobic system better? Like which one's better? Some of my days when we wrestle or grapple, do striking, is it intervals? Are we doing long 10-minute rounds? Are we doing 1-minute positional sparring? So that also has to come in account. When you're off the mat, depending on what you need to do, road work important. Yes, if that's something that you require to do. And then is sprint work important? You have to understand yourself in terms of what's making you tired. Is the anaerobic part of the training making you tired, or the aerobic part making you tired? And that's why training diaries are so important, to understand your system. But it's a balance of both. So should you be doing road work? Yes. Should you be doing short intervals? Yes. So there's no specific answer. A perfect program is you doing both, but what do you need better? That's a decision on tests you need to do on your own system and understanding what your system requires.
Okay, so adapt it to the way you need it.
Yeah, I mean, anything is customized, but so like me, I need more sprint work. That's how my body is. I can run for days. I can do long, work for days. But when it comes to scrambles and sprinting and short intervals, that does make me tired. And so I do a lot more, 80% more of that than the long distance stuff, than, the hitting a certain heart rate and keeping it there.
I'm just going to make a note here, how to make Rich tired. Person to scramble. That's ever going to happen. Awesome, Rich. I think that's it. I think we covered all the grounds. Spoke about some fights. the book club. I'm happy about. I finally remembered to ask that.
Yes, finally.
Fantastic. So we've all got 5
All right,
books
buddy.
worth of homework. Thanks for your time, brother. Appreciate it. See you soon.
Talk to you soon, bud. Take care. Bye.
Ciao, Rich.